Welcome into Locked On Phillies. I'm your host, Connor Thomas. Today, who should DH? Who should play left field? I'll break it down in full for you. Also, a Phillies loss in spring training. We'll get into another trade being made following the Adam Hazley move and stepping off, where we talk about something you might see around the ballpark this summer. It says it's Bank Park. Plenty to get into, so let's get started.
You are Locked On Phillies, your daily Philadelphia Phillies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
That's right. I am your host, Connor Thomas. Been talking Phillies baseball for years over at 97.5 The Fanatic on the radio. Now, happy to be here with you on Locked On Phillies. I want to thank you for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So today, the first thing I want to jump into, we got to really hammer everything down. We're getting closer and closer and closer to opening day, and the Phillies need to make a decision. Now, it could alter throughout the year. Of course, it's not going to be a set decision. Whoever fills this role is not going to be in that role every single game for the whole 162-game season. But the Phillies have to decide who's their best option at left field and who's their best option at DH. With the Adam Hazley trade going down yesterday with the Chicago White Sox, now, obviously, the left field position, well, it's going to be either Nick Castellanos or Kyle Schwarber. Mickey Moniak will not get that position, especially with Odubel Herrera hurt. He will have to be the backup in center. Looks like Matt Vierling is on the fast track to start in center field on opening day for the Phillies, which leaves left field open for either Castellanos or Schwarber. So that begs the question, who's the best option for the Phillies to put out there in left field come opening day and as the season continues to progress? Well, there's really two different aspects of this decision that need to be broken down. The first one, well, we got to look at their defense. Who's better defensively? We know that the Phillies are going to be a rough team defensively because they haven't really put priority on that in the offseason. They weren't a good defensive baseball team last year, to put it lightly. And Schwarber and Castellanos, not known for their defense. But which one of these guys, is there a clear option? One of these guys is better than terrible, really, is how I'll put it, in left field. You're trying to find the lesser of two evils here if you're the Phillies. So let's go ahead and look at some of their defensive metrics and see if we can find an answer. So let's start with the guy that I would be starting in left field, which would be Nick Castellanos. Now, I would start him in left field, but I haven't fully broken these down. I've gone through these numbers, of course, preparing for this show, this episode for you, but I haven't fully baked them into my thought process and who should start. So I could change my mind as I attempt to give you the best information on who should be the left fielder for the Phillies. Let's start with Castellanos, though, because that's who I see in my mind's eye as being the better defensive option. He just seems more like the defensive player because Schwarber's the bigger guy, more of a power hitter. Castellanos seems slightly more athletic, but may not be true. So a couple things we're going to look at. First, we're going to look at the fielding percentage, just strictly looking at left field to make sure that we have everything squared away. And Nick Castellanos has not really played left field. So for him, we're going to use outfield in general from his time in the major leagues to see what he goes ahead and stacks up as. And the first metric we're looking at is fielding percentage. So he's an interesting guy to break this all down because he's got some third base numbers in here. He's got some left field numbers, some outfield in general numbers. He's got right field where he primarily played during his time in Cincinnati. So we're looking through pretty good fielding percentages from him. It looks like he's got 9 seasons in total. And let's just go down here to the total numbers because he's such a variable fielder. He's played across the outfield. He's going to be playing a new position. But the fielding percentage that he's put up over the course of his career is .970. So let's look at the league fielding percentage in total. Well, .970 even over 9 seasons. So he's really right on par with dead average playing the field. Now, that's in general. That's not just breaking down left field. By the splits, he's actually a slightly below average left fielder as far as defense is concerned. What really brings him up is his right field defense, and that would make sense because he's played most of the time there. You expect a little bit of a drop-off and a little bit of I don't even know. I'm a strong proponent. If you played the game, you know this as well. Left field typically is the easier outfield corner position to play when you compare it to right field. Right field doesn't have to cover more ground necessarily, but you have the longer throw to third base. You have the longer throw when you're getting to the cutoff man to go to the left side of the infield. So naturally, it feels like the better player should be in right. And you normally put the guy with the weaker arm in left. Maybe defensively, that guy is a little bit less apt. You put him in left as well. Now, either way, you're still dealing with corners of the ballpark. You're still fielding balls to either side. So it's not just, some people might think the common thing that I hear all the time when I'm hearing about football is like if you switch an offensive lineman from one tackle position to the other tackle position, it feels like they're doing something backwards. Baseball, it's not the case because the ball is not attacking you from the same angle every single time. Sometimes you have to field balls over your left shoulder. Sometimes you got to field backhand over your right. It changes depending on the batter, not necessarily the position. So I think he'll make the fine transition over to left. But in his short time in left, Castellanos has been a slightly below average fielder when it comes to that. Overall, though, his defense breaks dead even with average Major League Baseball outfielders or players in general. Now let's go over to Kyle Schwarber, who has spent some time at first base, which will obviously skew this because first base a little bit more. I don't know. I guess first base is a little bit more error prone. He's caught before. He's played across the outfield, not really ever in center, but he's played left and right primarily. Let's go ahead and look and see how he stacks up in total fielding percentage. So his 7-season total in fielding percentage is .980. Now, part of that, he gets opportunities at first base that are literally just catching the ball. Doesn't have to track anything down, things like that. So it does up that percentage a little bit. But you look at the average fielding percentage based on all these positions added all combined. Shout out to Baseball Reference for making my job easy on this one. It's actually .987 across Major League Baseball for similar players and similar positions that Kyle Schwarber has been playing. So he is below average as a fielder over the course of his career. Let's just go ahead and take a look at by position. Right field, only had one season where he really spent a lot of time out there in right, but outfield-wise, he spent total 7 seasons when you combine it. 7 seasons where he has played left field. So we can just wipe right field. Don't have to worry about that. He won't be playing over there. That's Bryce Harper's spot. He's right around a .981 fielding percentage out there in left field or in the outfield in general. It's about .984 to .985 on average. So Castellanos, an average fielder. Kyle Schwarber, slightly below average. But remember, when you break Castellanos out to playing left field, he's below average. So it's more of a call of principle. Do you trust Castellanos to be an average fielder, even though he's switching over to left field? Or do you trust Kyle Schwarber to play the position he feels more natural at than Castellanos, the one they spent more time playing? For me, I'm going to give the edge to the better fielder and say that Castellanos will have no trouble figuring out left field. It won't be great, an incredible fielder just because he moves to left field, but he shouldn't be any worse than what he's already been in right. So here's the other thing we have to look at then. And this is more a Kyle Schwarber stat because Nick Castellanos, during his time, he did play actually for Detroit for a little bit. So let's go ahead and see. Detroit mostly for the start of his career. Let's look at the splits for both of these guys and figure out what their splits look like based on, well, what position they're playing. And look at what they do as a DH versus as a left fielder to see if one of them are more comfortable in the DH spot than really playing the outfield. So let's look first at Nick Castellanos to keep the order the same. He's played 44 games in the designated hitter role. He has 185 plate appearances, 178 at-bats. As a DH, he's batting .275. As a left fielder, he's batting .375. 100 points better as a left fielder. So that's what you've got. But it's a small sample size in left field, obviously. He's only played 13 games there. As a right fielder, let's look at that. .292 is the batting average as a right fielder. So he is better hitting when he plays the field. Part of that is more of a sample size. 493 games in right as opposed to only 44 as the DH. But you feel like that 493 would make it average out more to what he normally is as a player. It looks like he's better when he's playing the field than he is when he's solely stuck with hitting. And some guys, that just comes more naturally. You can't look at the combination of numbers. Like he has 300 RBIs as a right fielder, but he's played 450 more games there. So I look at the averages, and his splits across the board are just simply better when he plays the field. Edge to Nick Castellanos. let's go over to Kyle Schwarber and let's figure out his splits because he spent significant time at the designated hitter position, especially during his time in Chicago. So let me go ahead and bring this up when this loads up, and we'll go ahead and run through everything that we have as far as the splits for Kyle Schwarber. Again, shout out to Baseball Reference, who's amazing with these splits and breaks down everything next level that you need to see. So going down to the positions here, you can go ahead and look this up as well to confirm what we're looking at as a designated hitter. Now, Kyle Schwarber has spent most of the time in his career at left field, 544 games played in left. Designated hitting, only 45. Wow, I would have thought it was more. So it doesn't really give you the full idea, but even though it's a small sample size, as a designated hitter, he batted .267 in those 45 games, .234 as a left fielder. Obviously, he's got better numbers total, like we talked about with Castellanos, but the splits, they're better as a DH. It's a small sample size, but it's really all you have to go on. And the Phillies, they're doing DHing for the first time in their team's history. So it's going to be stuff to figure out. Even though Joe Girardi managed in the American League with the Yankees, it's new with this squad and some of these players. By those numbers, you can hear it broken down. You already know where I'm going to go. My initial thought, the numbers say it's correct. Nick Castellanos, settle yourself in left field, and I'm batting Kyle Schwarber, designated hitter. I'm also still leading off Kyle Schwarber. I'm still batting Castellanos cleanup. None of that changes for me, but I'm going to go ahead and say, based on those numbers, that Nick Castellanos should be the primary left fielder for the Philadelphia Phillies in 2022. I think that makes sense. If you disagree with me, get at me in the comments and let me know what you think about who should be that primary left fielder for the Phillies. Coming up next, we'll get into the game the Phils played yesterday down in spring training and another trade that they made. Not as big as the Hazley move, but something worth mentioning as well to take a look at how this team is shaping out. All right, our next partner has a product I use literally every day. I've told you about it before. It's AG1 from my friends over at Athletic Greens. I use it every day because I don't really eat all that well. I'm a regular, 27-year-old guy. I eat a lot of processed foods and stuff that's not good for me, and I need my extra nutrients and vitamins. And the best way for you to get it is by using AG1. It got 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. I don't even know what half that stuff is. And you know what that means? That means it's great for you. All of that extra stuff, they've already done the research to make sure it's very good for you. And it's very easy to do. I just wake up, I put it in a little shaker bottle. It tastes great. It's easy to drink. It takes me 2 minutes. It's the easiest way to get all of these nutrients. And let me tell you about the importance of a multivitamin, because I didn't know. So maybe you don't. Tons of people take some kind of multivitamin, and it's really important to choose one with high quality ingredients that your body will actually absorb. AG1 does that. The ingredients, pristine, top of the line. It's amazing. You can tell by the color, this dark green color that they're known for. It just shows you how good it really is. It's awesome for you. And something else it does, it supports mental clarity and alertness, which is important when you do something like I do, or when you do something like you do. It doesn't matter what job. You got to be focused day in and day out. You can't be messing up on the job. You got to be zoned in, and Athletic Greens uses the best of the best products based on the latest science with constant product iterations and third-party testing. They're awesome. It's amazing. It tastes great for me. It works great for me. I mean, I felt more energy. I feel more awake. And that's me waking up at 4 a.m. every morning. Imagine the normal 7 a.m., 8 a.m. wake up time, how it's going to make you feel. It's going to be great. So to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/MLB Network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/MLB Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. So the Phillies had a tough loss against the Yankees in spring training yesterday. We'll get into that in a second. I mean, it's spring training, so no loss is really all that tough. But first, I want to get into another trade that the Phillies made. They followed up the Adam Hazley trade with a trade that looks to, I don't know if it'll bolster the bullpen, but it certainly looks to add another player that could potentially compete for one of that spots. The Phillies traded for James Norwood, right-handed pitcher, 28 years old. They moved Kevin Piccardo, a minor league infielder, over there during that trade. And of course, that trade was with the San Diego Padres, where James Norwood has spent the entirety of his major league career. So Kevin Piccardo, if you're not familiar with that name, yeah, that's cool. I wasn't either. He's never made it above high A ball. He really hasn't done all that much to look into during his time down there in the minors. Uh, I'm trying to look and see even what we've got batting wise. It looks like he's a 225 hitter in 2 seasons down there in the minors. The rest I can tell you, he's a 20-year-old, 6 foot, 180 pounds, which is what we call average because that's the size I was listed as when I played college baseball. Very average. And yeah, that's all I really know about Curvin Piccardo. But he's now gone, and they moved him, the Phillies, that is, moved him for James Norwood, who has spent a couple years making a little bit of waves in the majors. He was with the Cubs, actually. I said the whole career with the Padres. I apologize. He spent time with the Chicago Cubs from 2018 to 2020. He was just with the Padres for the first time last year in 2021. Now, he has a total in 4 years in the majors of only 28 games of appearances. And he's pitched 27 innings, and he's posted an ERA of, let's get over to it. Where's his ERA? There it is. He's posted a total ERA of 3.67 during his time there with, in the majors in general. So what does it mean? He's not a young player. He's already 28, so he's not on the back end, but it's not exactly like you're bringing up a 25-year-old that you can let grow in your bullpen. It seems like he's going to be a guy that they're going to bring in, give him a little bit of a look, and keep him in the minors, probably at AAA, until a spot inevitably becomes open in the bullpen. It's a long season. You're going to have injuries. COVID is still kind of a thing. It's less likely the guys miss time with it, but you never know. We're still in the tail end of the pandemic and everything's closing out there. So you go ahead and you add James Norwood and you bring him in to be, I guess, a little bit of a bolster. So here's what that tells me. It doesn't really say all that much because he's not going to be playing at the major league level right off the bat, I would bet. Because the Phillies have already made a couple bullpen acquisitions, Brad Hand, Juris Familia, bringing them in to add to a bullpen that was already comprised of guys they felt solid coming back with from last year. So nothing all that crazy there. But what it does mean is that they're not, it seems, fully sold on the bullpen to the point where they don't need to bring in some ulterior options if guys completely implode. If Juris Familia is just like way over the hill. If Brad Hand falls apart. If some of these younger guys, like I think Connor Brogdon's pretty solid, but Bailey Falter, who is a young left-hander, is in the pen. If he needs to go down for whatever reason to the minors and work something out, well, now they've got James Norwood, who could be another option that they could bring up. Nothing huge there as far as the trade's concerned, but something worth mentioning because, of course, we're going to mention all the trades. We got to keep you up to date on the latest Philadelphia Phillies information. And I'll tell you one thing. I don't know about Curvin Piccardo, but I know who does. And that's my friend Lindsey Crosby over there with Locked On MLB Prospects. Thanks as always for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every day. I also want you to check out Locked On MLB Prospects, though, because Lindsey Crosby is amazing. He knows all these guys inside and out. So when the Phillies make these trades, of course, I go ahead and I reach out to him. I try and figure out a little bit more about the players. Now, Curvin Piccardo, probably not a guy that's worth sending that text message for. But if I needed to, I could go right over to Lindsey Crosby and he can give me all that information, and you can find out about the MLB Stars of Tomorrow from him. So make sure you check out Lindsey on Locked On MLB Prospects. So that was the trade that went down. Let's now look at what was an uneventful game for the Philadelphia Phillies yesterday against the New York Yankees, where they fell 14-2. I told you I didn't really want to talk about this one yesterday. The game had already concluded before I recorded. But today, we'll go into it and take a look because, yeah, you guessed it. Aaron Nola started, and he's now up to an 8 ERA in spring training. He pitched 4 innings, gave up 4 runs, so not great there for the ERA. And he only struck out 3. He was averaging a strikeout per inning, but did not have a good day. Still seems to be working on stuff with that fastball late in the count. Gave up another home run. I mean, it's just he looks lost. And I keep trying to calm everybody down and say, hey, it's just spring training. He's probably working on stuff. We're going to have to wait and see. We're in like a holding pattern. Well, the longer we hold and the more he continues to do stuff like this when he gets his chances in spring training, the more worried I get. It's not good. And he did face some of the strong Yankees hitters, Josh Donaldson, Joey Gallo, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, DJ LeMahieu, Aaron Hicks. These guys all played. Isaiah Kiner Falefa all played. So he's faced some of the starters, but still, these are the guys you're going to have to get out come opening day and throughout the course of the season. And, man, I don't see it from Aaron Nola right now. Alarms are starting to go off my head, despite what I've told you about spring training. that is an issue. Offensively, not all that much to talk about. The Phillies did play their guys. Kyle Schwarber started, Gene Segura, Didi Gregorius, Nick Castellanos, Bohm, Vierling. These guys all got looks and got opportunity. Vierling went 1 for 3. He had a nice little double. But other than that, really nothing. The RBIs did not come from anyone who's going to be starting on opening day. Ronald Torres got a start and got a look at it, but he went 0 for 2. Just not a banner day for the Phillies. The biggest thing to take out of this one is the Aaron Nola continued struggles. Every single time he does it, I get more and more nervous about telling you guys, oh, okay, he's fine. Give him time. Wait for opening day. Well, opening day is not that far away, and let's just say I'm worried, to say the least. So that's the latest news on the trade that just went down for the Phillies and what we found out about Aaron Nola and that lineup from yesterday's matchup with the Yankees down there in Florida. Now, on the other side, we're going to jump into stepping off. A quick one this week, but something interesting that you could see around the ballpark at Citizens Bank Park this year. First, though, I want to tell you about my friends over at Built Bar. I've been telling you about them since I started hosting Locked On Phillies. They're awesome. And the weather, well, it's cooled off again. You know what that means? You have more time now to get ready because beach season is right around the corner. Warm weather's right around the corner. So you guys start eating those protein bars, and there's not a single better one out on the market than Built Bar. Have you ever had protein-infused marshmallows? No? Well, you need to try their puffs. Listen to some of these great flavors. Cinnamony churro, coconut marshmallow, banana cream pie, or try the regular ones with also great flavors like mint brownie, coconut almond, and new for this month, white chocolate cookies and cream. Those flavors are amazing, so they got to be bad for you, right? No, just 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. Those numbers are insane for a protein bar, something healthy for you that tastes that good. It tastes like a candy bar. It feeds your body like a protein bar. It's awesome, and that's because at Built Bar, they're all about the taste. They make it taste delicious first, then figure out how to make it healthy, and I don't know how, but they pull it off every single time. So I want you to go to built.com, use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off your order. That's built.com, promo code LOCK15 for 15% off. Okay, so it's time for stepping off, where we step outside the lines of baseball. No strategy, no lineups, none of that. We do something fun. We do something light to break up the middle of the week because, once you get around Wednesday, it's a little bit of a drag. Oh, and if you're not familiar why it's called stepping off, to me, like to make that baseball analogy, we have off the pole, we have the closer. Well, this is one where you're on the mound. You just need to take a deep breath. So step off, collect yourself, and that's what this is. The middle of the week, take a deep breath, step off, collect yourself, and prepare to head down the stretch towards the weekend. Well, today in Stepping Off, I have an insider update on something you could be seeing at Citizens Bank Park. You're not getting this information anywhere else. I promise you. I always say that. And sometimes, you could find another place that might talk about the trade that the Phillies just made or might talk about the lineup. It won't be as good as the content you get here on Locked On Phillies, but I guess technically there are other people talking about it. Well, this is a Locked On Phillies exclusive. I am in possession. Well, not quite yet. I've got to go pick it up. But I am going to be officially in possession of an every game media credential pass. So thank you to my friends over at 97.5 The Fanatic who helped me set that up. Thank you for Locked On Phillies for being a part of that as well, and the Locked On Podcast Network. So the Philadelphia Phillies were kind enough to I don't know how I got through the vetting process, but I applied to go ahead and get that credential. So the thing you'll be seeing around Citizens Bank Park this year is me. You're looking at him. I'll be there for just about every game. Now, what does this mean to you? What does this matter? I don't mean to just be like bragging, like, I get to go to the games and go and sit in the media area and everything like that. No, what this means for you is you now have someone who's going to be credentialed, sitting in there, having the opportunity to talk to players, having the opportunity to talk to other media members, going to all the games, seeing it in person. Anyone can flick on the TV and just check it. Not here on Locked On Phillies. I'm going to be there putting in the work to bring you the greatest Philadelphia Phillies content on the planet. And this is just another step towards me doing that better than anyone else possibly can. So go ahead and make sure you're locked in to Locked On Phillies. And also, this isn't just about here. I'm a very friendly guy. I love to meet people. I love to talk to people. I love to hear about people who enjoy this show, what I do over at 97.5 The Fanatic, the Phillies in general, and just want to talk baseball. You could hate me and love Phillies baseball, and I'd still love to talk to you about it because that's just the kind of person I am. So if you see me around the ballpark at all this year, you can expect to see me walking around, maybe grabbing a beer, checking out stuff from different parts of the yard because I love that park and everything that surrounds Citizens Bank Park. That means you can come up to me and say hi. When you make that trip to Citizens Bank Park to catch your Phillies games, I'll probably be there. So don't be a stranger. If you see me, come up and come say hi. It's a way for me to catch more Phillies games, be more accessible to the content, and also to you guys. So I'm very excited about that. Just wanted something I wanted to share with you and stepping off for this week because it's going to be a great summer. When I have the opportunity to go to as many Phillies games as I want and get you guys great content, you know I got to take advantage of that. So a great thing for me and an even better thing for you because I'm going to get even better content than what I've already been bringing you. It's going to be awesome. Okay, that's all I have for you today. I want to thank you again for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every day. Now I want to make your second listen Locked On MLB. Paul Francis Sullivan, make sure you call him Sully. He knows baseball like the back of his hand. Not just current day, all the past stories, everything, the history of the game. He knows it all. He's a genius when it comes to baseball. And you got to go check out the deep dive he's doing on the major leagues in general. It's an awesome show. Make that your second listen. Go ahead and check out Sully on Locked On MLB. You will not regret that you did. It's awesome. And you won't regret checking out tomorrow's episode. We've got the final four of our top 8 moments in Philadelphia Phillies history ready to go. It's going to be a sprint to the finish as the actual NCAA tournament wraps up. We're going to go ahead and wrap up our tournament, starting with the Final Four tomorrow. Got a little information on today's spring training game for the Phillies. Get everything all wrapped up there. We'll keep you updated on the latest news if another trade comes down, everything like that. So all your latest Philadelphia Phillies content will be updated on tomorrow's episode. But again, that's all I've got for you today. So thank you. Oh, of course, always got to remind you, rate, review, subscribe on YouTube. Give me 5 stars wherever you consume, your podcast. It would help if I didn't stutter through asking for 5 stars, but no. Go ahead, throw me that 5 stars if you like it. Review, comment. We're going to have our first comment Friday coming up 5 p.m. this Friday, so you want to make sure you check that out. It's all going to be awesome. So make sure you're locked in. Subscribe everywhere. Follow me on Twitter at ConnorThomas975. Follow Locked On Phillies on Twitter at LO_Phillies. So you're up to date on everything. That's all I got for you, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.